Chris Brien here again, your friendly neighbourhood percussionist. What you saw me playing there, I just didn't start doing this. What was it? I just didn't just start doing that one day. I thought, I think I'll set up 7 pedals and start doing some crazy thing. No, it all started when I was a very young boy and I learned to play this. Let me turn my snares on. That's what I would call, and a lot of players call, an American drum set samba, and there are endless versions of this. I'm not a traditional drummer from Brazil, so I don't want complaints. It's not traditional. Not interested. To be traditional or authentic, you need a time machine, please. I'm not interested. So it's a basic samba, endless ways of playing samba. So when I was a kid, I'm self-taught. I taught myself to do this. I learnt that beat, samba. And I developed it a lot over the years into other patterns, but it began there. The first thing I played was actually this, and I played triplets on top. That's the first thing I played. I didn't know what it was, because I saw someone playing a samba in Sydney. I thought, what is that? So I thought, he seemed to be doing that, and I sort of thought, well, how do I play on top of that? When I tried to play, everything stopped. I thought, well, maybe I've got to dissect all the 16th notes, and that's the trick to this. You have to break all your... First of all, there's 2 main things, independence and interdependence. In my world, interdependence means everything you're playing is based on the same rate. Now, it might be like 5 against 3 or a samba rhythm against a clave pattern. They're all based on a grouping in 16. Whether that 16 is button to button or it doesn't matter. They're still the same rate. Well, independence is when you got something like, say, something I learned when I was very young, samba here and triplets on my left hand, which is, for me, is very simple. It's this. That's independence. So the rhythms are independent of themselves. So I do a lot of independence more rather than interdependence. I do both. These days, a lot of guys do like 7 across 5, like a bump, 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 and they do that sort of stuff. I understand that. I don't bother with it. I sometimes practice that. I'm more into the sort of like the jungle sort of sound. Anyway, so how you get this started is you've got to start at the beginning. And one of the easiest patterns to learn to play on top of this, which is a samba pattern, we have to first break down what exactly we're doing. Okay, now when you've got a rhythm that's repeating itself, whether it's just a rhythm like that or a melody on a flute or a saxophone or a guitar, it's called an ostinato. An ostinato is a repetitive musical phrase. The root of the word ostinato comes from obstinate, which means stubborn. It's a stubborn pattern. For me, the main difference between a rhythm and a melody is a rhythm is non-tonal. There's a bit of tone in that, but compared to, say, a tuba or a human voice, no, it's not. It doesn't resonate at A440. It hasn't got a pure tone. So, but regardless, they're both ostinatos. Ostinatos used a lot in electronic music when you got like got some keyboard pattern that keeps repeating itself. Ostinato, I mean, people like Mozart, all sorts of people have used ostinatos with melodic patterns in orchestras. But drum set players, I'd say probably drum set players, percussionists who have pedals, and church organists, they have 4-limb independence, so they can play a lot of stuff. What amazed me, most drummers don't get involved with the independence, and I don't know why. Maybe they're not aware of it, maybe they don't want to. I've done many drum clinics over the years, and one drum clinic I did was in Hong Kong was with, what's his name? Was it Mike Tempesta? He was playing with a Colt. He played very good, very, very good thrash metal drummer. And he said when I did my thing, then he did his thing. When he was doing his, someone asked him about foot ostinatos. I'd done some foot ostinatos. They said, can you explain foot ostinatos? He basically said, I'm not going to do that. I'm too lazy. Basically saying, because I'd said, learning to play over ostinatos is not difficult. It's time-consuming. It takes time. You'll be patient with it. Where I don't want to go really fast and loud because it'll hurt my ears. This is why I don't play that loud. I don't like really loud music. Anyway, so what I learned to play was this. And I'd realised that, okay, I didn't know it was called an ostinato. I didn't know it was called a samba. I just knew it was a pattern. As time went on and reading books and watching interviews and stuff, because leaders are readers, so you've got to read books, okay? So the reading books, I realised that I was actually watching reading a thing about Peter Erskine, the great jazz drummer from the States, was saying you need to subdivide all the 16th notes. So I did that. I didn't know how, so I worked it out. I thought, okay, well, I have to first establish the rhythm I'm playing. I decided that's based on 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, that's how I counted. And I thought, okay, well, I've got to play all the 16th notes against that. So what I'm going to do in my next lessons is I'm going to go through all the what we call 16th note permutations. Now, to permutate something means to break it up into all its possible combinations. I mean, sports coaches permutate patterns on a sporting field. The musicians don't just do this. Mathematicians do this. But with applying, which you're going to get into the next lesson, playing permutations over an ostinato, you then get into the area of applied mathematics on the drum set, which is really good for you mentally, very good for you, and will make you a much better player. So I'll leave that for now today, but next lesson I'll start taking you guys through the 16th permutations over the samba ostinato. Once you've done that, we'll do some more involved ostinatos. But you must start very simple, otherwise you're going to get sick of it and you won't continue. So you want to take little steps. Don't try and take big steps because you're not going to get very far. Take little steps and you'll be surprised how far you get. So let you go, and our next lesson is going to be 16th note permutations over the samba ostinato. Thank you, Chris Brien. I love that splash cymbal.